16 strangest things to fall from the sky. Number 16. Worms. Jennings Police Department employee Eleanor Beale was just crossing the street to go to work when something dropped from the sky. The sky wasn't falling. She says it was worms, large, tangled clumps of them. Where they came from is a mystery, but some believe that a water spout spotted less than 5 miles away at the same time near Lacassine Bayou could have something to do with it. Number 15. Silver coins. Roughly around 1,000 14th century coins made out of silver fell onto a village near the city of Gorky in the USSR on the day of June 17, 1940. Authorities gave their official explanation that stated the coins were unearthed by a landslide and then somehow were picked up by a tornado that carried the coins over the village. Yet, there was no explanation as to why there was no type of debris with the coins whatsoever. Number 14. Toads. Amphibians falling from the sky isn't quite as uncommon as you think it is, as they've been reported in several parts of the world. One of the most famous occurrences of this event happened to a French village named Lalaine in the summer of 1794. This was also the same time French soldiers were fighting off the Austrians, and they were forced to abandon their posts when it began to rain tiny tadpoles. Number 13. Birds. The city of Baton Rouge in Louisiana fell victim to this incident in July of 1896 when hundreds of birds fell from the sky and onto the city's streets. This happened once more in another city located in Louisiana. More recently, an enormous flock of Lapland longspurs was caught in a snowstorm that disorientated them and killed between 5,000 and 10,000 of them on January 22, 1998. Number 12. Meat. The notorious Kentucky meat shower was a phenomenon that happened on March 3, 1876, in southern Bath County. A woman named Mrs. Allen Crouch was outside in her yard when pieces of meat that she described as being the size of large snowflakes began to fall from the sky. No one knew what to make of this, and 2 men said the meat tasted like mutton or venison. Scientists will later identify that the mystery meat was made up of cartilage and muscle fibers, and was caused by a flock of vultures simultaneously regurgitating it above the town. Number 11. Non-dairy creamer. The townspeople of Chester, South Carolina, were greeted with a white substance falling from the sky in 1969. However, it wasn't the icy cold water they were familiar with. It happened to be non-dairy creamer that was being produced by the Borden Company. The vents at the local plant would sometimes get clogged, and that's when the creamer would get blown into the air. It was there that the powder would combine with the water above and rain down a sticky mess. Number 10. Money. On the day of October 8th, 1976, a plane that was flying above the Piazza Venezia in Rome dropped 500 lire, 1,000 lire, and even 10,000 lire banknotes over the building and onto the streets. The individual who was responsible for this was never identified, and their identity will remain a mystery. Number 9. Human waste. It was Sunday, October 18th, 1992, when married couple Gary and Leroy Cinnamon, who lived in the town of Woodinville, Washington, were enjoying the football game between the Seahawks and the Raiders. Then, all of a sudden, something crash-landed through the roof of their living room. It was a chunk of frozen green ice the size of a baseball. Over the course of 2 days, it melted and began to emit a foul odor. It was revealed by airline officials that it was frozen waste that had fallen out of an airplane. Number 8. Deadly white powder. This deadly disaster struck the town of Seveso, Italy on Saturday, July 10, 1976, when a nearby factory emitted a loud whistling noise that was followed by a large cloud of gray that blanketed the town. The townspeople had no idea that the cloud contained a poison far deadlier than arsenic called dioxin. 10 days had passed before they realized this, but by then it was already too late. Animals in the area began to die, and children became plagued with black pustules all over their skin. The city was eventually evacuated. Number 7. The largest meteorite. This meteorite happens to weigh more than 60 tons and crash-landed here on Earth exactly 80,000 years ago. A farmer who lives in the Hoba district, which lies in northern Namibia, was the first person to discover it and was declared a national monument in 1955. Thousands of tourists visit the site each year, and there was a minor incident in 1989 when a group of soldiers tried to chisel pieces of the rock to keep as souvenirs. Number 6. Fish. Fish falling from the sky is pretty common enough that these events have been given an official explanation as to how these storms. Researchers believe that the force of whirlwinds creates a sort of waterspout effect that sucks the fish up and then drops them in some unsuspecting area. There have also been reports of fish falling from the sky due to birds such as seagulls fighting over who gets to eat, and ultimately in the end, they drop the fish. Number 5. Spiders. A man named Christian Onito Gaona was on a vacation with a friend when he decided to go on a hiking trip in the San Bernardo Mountains in Argentina on April 6, 2007. It was then that spiders began to suddenly fall from the sky 2 hours into their hike. The spiders were each around 4 inches wide with multiple colors. They filmed the whole thing and posted the video to YouTube where you can see the whole thing. Number 4. Space debris. On the day of January 12, 2001, an upper part of a rocket had managed to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and it crashed into the Saudi Arabian desert. It was later identified as part of a Star 48 payload assist module rocket that was part of a GPS satellite that's called Navstar 32 and was launched in 1993. Number 3. A cow. A Japanese fishing crew was rescued after their boat had been struck by a cow that fell from the sky. After explaining what had happened to them, the local authorities sent the crew to prison. It wasn't until nearly 2 weeks later that the Russian Air Force contacted Japanese authorities to let them know that the men weren't lying. In fact, the cow was actually stolen, and once inside the plane, it began to thrash around, so the crew cruelly pushed the animal out of the plane. Number 2. Blood. Back in 2008, the citizens of a small town named La Sierra Chocó, that's found in Colombia, declared what they believed to be blood falling from the sky. The mysterious red liquid was very well distinguished as blood by a bacteriologist. The local priest of the town, Johnny Milton Cordoba, believes that the event was a sign from God telling the people to change their sinful ways. Number 1. A human body. This event occurred on the Monday morning of September 25, 1978, when a body crashed through the windshield of a woman's parked car. The woman, later identified as Mary C. Fuller, was sitting in her vehicle with her 8-month-old son at the time of the incident. Officials later revealed that the body was a passenger on a Pacific Southwest Airlines jet who had fallen from the airplane after it had crashed into a smaller plane and exploded.